Yes, I'm from Cafe Negro.
Okay, Jane, I'm just going to share. We're live now on Facebook. I'm going to just share our agenda here.
Terrific.
Okay. So the first item on tonight's traffic and transportation is the open street application for Third Avenue Summer Stroll. The board was notified by the New York City Department of Transportation that our 4 annual Summer Streets events are now ready for community board review. The merchants of Third Avenue applied for full street closures of Third Avenue from 82nd Street to Marine from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the dates of Friday, July 24th and Friday, August 7th. On July 31st and Friday, August 14th, the street closure applications for Third Avenue from 82nd Street to 68th Street. The Third Avenue Summer Strolls were approved last year. Each year we have the same stipulations. I know that there are several new members here. I'm just going to stop my share for a moment from Third Avenue Merchants, including James Vavis, who is the president. And I know there's Lisa Larkin, who's on the call, and I believe there was someone else.
Hi there. My name's
Christina. Yes, Christina. Yes, I saw
Hi.
you earlier. I was looking for you. So I don't know if you want to say a few things. Has anything changed from last year? I'll turn it back over to you, Jane.
Lisa, you want to go first?
Really, I mean, there's not that many changes from last year. I mean, do you foresee any changes? I mean, I don't.
No.
No.
All things that occurred last year are due to occur this year. No changes whatsoever.
I think the only, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
So the only thing that we were looking at in addition was some additional support somehow for those unique streets that are near
91st, 92nd.
Delia's, specifically the corner where Delia's and the Walgreens are. That's kind of an off set intersection, which makes it a little bit difficult for pedestrian safety over there, right? Did we have some issues with that in the past, Christina?
Yes,
with
as a
Officer
matter
Mina?
of fact.
Well,
As a matter of fact, in the morning, we're meeting with the precinct to hopefully rectify the situation further.
Right.
So we're aware that that's
where
been an
Food
issue.
Town is and
The diner.
the diner. That's the issue is, people coming in and out of the diner and the parking lot and then the Food Town.
And the 4 streets that don't go straight through, they turn and then go up.
Yeah, those offset intersections. So we're aware that that was an issue in the past. We're trying to figure out with the precinct a way to make that a safer spot for pedestrians and transportation, but more specifically for the pedestrians.
So in advance is one of the stipulations that you agree to. I know there's new people here. We usually meet with the precinct and Department of Sanitation in advance of the summer strolls. And also I just want to clarify with the State Liquor Authority, any changes. I don't believe there are any changes this year. Typically, you provide us a list of participants that are putting out and will be serving outside within their roped area. Anyone who's part of the New York City outdoor dining program has submitted, they have an extension of premises where they're permitted to serve. We haven't had an issue in the past. I know there's like a new one-day survey that was a little wonky the first year, but I think it resolved itself last year. But we could talk about that offline at our interagency meeting in advance of the summer strolls. So thank you. So Jane, if you want me, I could put up the STIPs that we vote upon each year. They seem to be pretty standard.
Yes, absolutely. And the summer strolls have been something that our community has enjoyed for many years. And, we look forward to these annual events that help define our community.
Very good. So here are just 5 stipulations. The first is that the summer strolls, all SLA licensed premises, like I mentioned, who plan to serve alcoholic beverages and are not part of the open street program, have to provide they have to provide an outdoor alteration permit. I think most of them have already from last year. 2 is amplified sound permits are issued at the discretion of the Third Avenue Summer Stroll organizers, and all applicants must adhere to the New York City Noise Code and NYPD rules relating to sound permits. All amplified sound permits issued must end at 10 p.m. All sound must end at 10. The Third Avenue Merchants as sponsor will attend the interagency meeting as I discussed and ensure that all intersections must be lined with protective barriers and visible signage for pedestrian safety.
So, Josephine, can I just speak to that last bullet about lining the intersections for pedestrian safety? We're kind of at the mercy of NYPD and the barricades that they're able to provide. In the past, we've been challenged with, we've faced challenges of trying to get enough barricades, because if there's too many things going on in the community or throughout the 5 boroughs, they don't have enough barricades to give us. We could use some help, and we can, I guess, talk a little bit about that during the interagency meeting. But really, that's our biggest hurdle in complying with those stipulations.
Okay, so definitely we'll work on that. I know that the NYPD also has, barrier tape in addition to the barricades, but you should be receiving the sufficient amount. There's, I see no reason why you should not. So we'll definitely, I just made a note for myself. So for our interagency meeting, when we meet with the precinct, and the board will certainly advocate for that as well. Thank you for bringing that up, James. I appreciate that.
Other than that, I don't think we have any objections to the stipulations.
Okay, great.
And you already mentioned that you've been reflective and looked at several intersections that you had concern about. So by bringing that forward with your interagency meeting that Josephine will be a part of as well, I think that can help bring it to the forefront. Everyone's safety is of the utmost importance, and making sure that our community can enjoy this event for all. Okay.
Right. So Jane, we just need a motion.
All right, so do we have a motion then for this?
Okay,
Can I see
Jonathan?
from oh, great, thank you.
Okay.
You have them there at the table?
Yes.
Thank you.
And second is Carmen, all in favor? Okay. Very good. No opposed, abstentions, recused.
Josephine, I'm going to abstain from voting, being that I'm a member of the Third Avenue Merchants.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sandy.
Okay, all right, so motion
All right.
carries. All right, thank you very much. So we'll move on to the second agenda item.
And thank you to all of our members of the Third Avenue Merchants. We appreciate you coming out this evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you. Josephine, is there additional agenda items regarding
But-
the
Yeah,
Third
so,
Avenue? I'll stick around.
yes, if you
Yeah.
could stick around, that would be great. There's the Third
Sure.
Avenue truck route and the Third Avenue
Mhm.
Safety Improvement Program. So thank you, James. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Thank
Do you
you.
think it would be okay if Lisa and I jump off as we covered the summer
Yeah.
stroll?
Yep, you
Yes.
guys are good.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night,
so
everyone.
much.
Good night.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, so next
Alright.
item on the agenda, Community Board 10 was notified by DOT of an enclosed sidewalk cafe for Tannerine Restaurant, 7523 Third Avenue. So Tannerine has had a longstanding existing enclosed
Mhm.
sidewalk cafe. Previously, enclosed sidewalk cafe licenses were handled by the Department of City Planning and the Department of Consumer and Workplace Protection. But now pre-existing enclosed sidewalk cafes must apply for their enclosed sidewalk cafe through DOT. Nothing really has changed, at the location. It's enclosed as part of the restaurant. So this is the first of 2 enclosed sidewalk cafe applications that the board received notification on, and both happen to be on tonight. So I know that Jumana is, she was on the call from
I'm
Tannerine.
still
I
here.
see her.
Can you
Oh,
hear
there
me?
you
Yeah.
are. I knew,
Yeah.
I found you. How are you?
Hey, good evening. Hi, Josephine. Hi, everybody.
Good
So-
evening.
Jumana, has anything changed to your setup?
Nothing at all. No.
nothing.
And you can see from that picture, it's the structure that's on the right side. It's just the same that it's been for the past 30 years, I guess.
Before it was Tannerine.
Exactly. But since Mr. Tang, yes.
Yes. Wow.
Mhm.
Very, very interesting. So because it's enclosed, Jane, I mean, our stipulations really don't apply to our stipulations are really geared around outdoor use.
Mhm.
So I'd say it's up to the committee if we want to, send a response back to DOT. I would say, in favor, since it's really been pre-existing, I think at least for 25 years. I mean, that's how far back I went into the folder, when it was Mr. Tang. So,
Right, because we're understanding that the structure has been there. It's just a matter of the approval process has changed.
correct.
Right. So this is something pre-existing, so it's not necessarily viewed in the same way as a completely new application.
Right. It's a new process, and in every prior
Mhm.
application, when it was through the Department of City Planning, the board voted in favor.
Right, okay, all right. So I don't know if any of our other board members had any questions on this. If not, we can proceed,
Yes.
Josephine?
We just need a motion.
All right, I
Uh,
think I see Stephanie's hand, or Stephanie
Well,
has a
I will,
question.
just a very, very quick question. After how many years does the applicant have to reapply for this? Is it the same as before?
No,
That's a good question. I know
Okay.
that with city planning, it was 10 years, a 10-year cycle. Jumana, do
Okay.
you know? Let me see if it's on here.
I mean, this has been sort of lumped into the open restaurants program since COVID. So now that it's under a new city agency, I'm not sure how the renewal process is going to work. I thought
Okay.
it was every 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
I think for outdoor, it's 4. And I see Diana's on the call. I don't mean to call her out. Diana, do you happen to know, for the enclosed sidewalk cafes, what the renewal time is?
Actually, I do not, but I'll definitely inquire.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, so
thank you. I was curious to know. Thank you.
No, it's a valid question.
okay,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Oh, we just need all in favor?
All right,
Everyone's hands up? Okay, great. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Jumana, it was nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so next on the agenda is our second enclosed sidewalk cafe that's also been around a long time, with a new restaurant owner that we met, Layla, 8530 3rd Avenue. It's an existing enclosed sidewalk cafe that's been part of the building, before Layla opened. It's been there for about 20 years, actually. I don't know if you knew that. The previously, again, was handled by city planning. There have been 12 311 noise complaints, but most of them were reported before 8 a.m., before 8 p.m. and yeah, before you were there. Yes. So none since you've been there. So that's good news. So we're happy about that. So has anything changed?
Same.
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Alan from Layla Restaurant,
Okay.
and we took the place like almost 2 years ago. And the structure is still the same. We just dress it with some flowers and stuff, but nothing changed in there.
Okay.
And we never had any problems since.
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
With a group of older ladies, we have a table in the front for 2 birthday parties there.
Glad you like it. Thank you.
Okay. Jane, I'll turn it
Okay.
back to you.
All right, so Barry, are there any other comments or questions from our board members? Okay, seeing none, then Josephine, I think we're ready for a vote here as well.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, unanimous.
Thank you.
Opposed? Abstentions, recusals? No? All right, motion carries. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you, and I believe Diana did answer in the chat, Josephine, if you could just check in.
Oh, yeah, so for outdoor dining license fee, $1,050 license fee covering the 4-year term for roadway or sidewalk dining, or $2,100 for both roadway and sidewalk. So I guess that applies for enclosed too. It's the same, so it'd be 4 years.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
see you
so
in
much.
4 years. Well, okay. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again, go back to the agenda PowerPoint. So the board added this yesterday to the agenda because we were notified and the time frame expires before the June meeting. And this is, we received a request for a sidewalk and roadway cafe for Cafe Negroni. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes.
Okay, at 308 86th Street. The restaurant opened at the end of last year. They came before us for their SLA liquor license. There have been no 311 noise complaints for this location. The applicant submitted the layout of the roadway cafe. The application is for a 20-foot by 8-foot setup with 4 tables and 8 seats. And that's pictured here. So here is a layout of the sidewalk cafe. Again, so the sidewalk cafe is 4 tables and 8 seats. So is that both? I'm sorry. Roadway is, so it's a total of 8 tables with 16 seats.
Correct, it's the roadway inside.
Okay. So the hours of operation for Cafe Negroni are Sunday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And let's see, I'm going to stop my share at this point. So I guess we'll introduce the applicant to
Hi, everybody. My name is Arthur from Cafe Negroni. We opened a couple of months ago, actually. And we're trying to get this permit now for the roadway and outdoor cafe. Sidewalk as well.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah, we are, we start closing. We have full name.
So the community board has standard stipulations, as I sent to you in the email. Hold on, Jane. We sent the applicant the standard community board 10 stipulation agreement, and you've agreed to that, right? Yeah. So I guess I'll turn it back to you, Jane, if the committee has any questions for the applicant.
So do our committee members have any questions at this time? I think can you also refresh everyone where this is in relation to the bus stop? Is there a bus stop by there?
Actually, the bus stop, are you referring to the one across the street from me or on the other side of 3rd Avenue?
Just to be clear, there are none that are right
On my street, there is no
house.
bus stop. There is one across the street.
Thank you. Okay, I see that Romeo has a hand up. If you could unmute him.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so my biggest concern about 308 86th Street is that it's a right turn only lane from 3rd Avenue onto 86th Street going towards Bensonhurst. People making that right turn, if they see something in the middle of the street, that's not going to be a good thing. The sidewalk part I have no issues with, but the street part I do have major issues with, especially just because of that intersection and how busy it can be. And you know what? We haven't had any bad accidents with street seating. Last thing I want to do is have one in that particular spot. So other than that, that's my only concern.
Do I get to respond?
Yeah.
There's actually metered parking there, so there's always cars parked there, and often double parked as well. And the structure, I believe, is going to be within the limits of the, of the parking space. It's not allowed to go over the line of the parking space. And also, it's not going to be raised. It's just going to be like the standard 34 or 36 inches that they allow. And we're not going to have a canopy. We're just going to use a couple of umbrellas. So it's going to be smaller than others, I'll say, it's not going to have the canopy part.
Right. No, I see that. I don't have an issue with that. It is the second building from the corner, yes?
It is the 4th building from the corner.
4th, okay, all right. That I based on the drawing, I thought it was the second one, so that makes it a little bit that makes it a little bit better.
It doesn't affect the turn, I think.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Doris has her hand up, and so does Stephanie. So Doris, if you could start.
Yes, yeah, I unmuted. I too am concerned about it. I think it's a very busy area. There are a lot of, it's part of a bus route. There's a lot of car turning and truck turning, and it's a possibility it could be part of a truck route. So I think it's a very dangerous location for a roadside establishment.
I see your concern again, but like I said, like this is a lot further from the corner, is a fourth building. And the structure is not gonna be huge. This is what I think.
But it's still going to be in the street and it's still on a very busy block.
And it's solid, and it's also surrounded by water barriers, water-filled barriers, which makes it quite solid.
Stephanie?
Thank you. I understand the owner's situation and the parameters that he's following, but again, just echoing Romeo and Doris that this is an extremely busy thoroughfare. Also a bus route, the lanes have been narrowed to accommodate for a turning lane. There will be deliveries in the area because there are several other stores in that area, and just putting anything in the street, once again, is extremely problematic. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, were there any other committee members from the
Yes,
table?
Carmen,
Have we ever had, I think the answer is no, any roadway,
Roadway cafe
cafes
incidents?
on 86th Street? Has there ever been one or no?
Hmm,
I
no,
don't remember any.
I don't remember.
Not to my recollection on 86th Street.
Dino?
Yeah, so I mean, there's already cars that are parked there. This is just gonna replace the cars with seating. So, cars aren't crashing into the parked cars. I mean, they shouldn't be, and if they are, I mean, that's a bigger issue. Also, Fifth Avenue has outdoor dining. Third Avenue has outdoor dining. They both have bus routes. They both have heavy traffic. 86th Street will not become a truck route. That's ridiculous. Third Avenue will not become a truck route. That's ridiculous. So I just don't see why, this establishment shouldn't get the same treatment as all the other restaurants in the area.
Okay. So continuing with committee members first, Stephanie?
Yeah, just to clarify again, I was speaking about the roadway cafe versus the sidewalk cafe, and I would argue that the roadway cafes on Third Avenue are extremely problematic. And it is very difficult to pass through along Third Avenue, regardless of whether or not it's going to be a truck route, as is. And it just, once there's one roadway cafe, it certainly does set the precedent for additional ones, and that makes sense. But again, concerns. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
I think we're back to Dino.
Yeah, yes, Third Avenue sucks. It's terrible. It's congested. So is Fifth Avenue, and it has nothing to do with the roadway dining, whatever, sheds. It's always been that way, and it's because of double parking. It's because of irresponsible drivers not following the traffic laws and causing all sorts of bottlenecks and congestion. It has nothing to do, whether it's on 86th Street or Third Avenue, it doesn't matter. So, as the owner of the cafe also stated, there's cars always double parked there. It has nothing to do with roadway dining. It's just the nature of the beast that is New York City. People do whatever they want. So having more roadway, sheds isn't going to change anything.
I believe Stephanie then had something further to add.
Just that with the continued removal of parking, it does exacerbate the double parking. And I'm not saying that there wouldn't be double parking, but more things in the street over time just create just more dangerous situations and greater problems.
People
Agreed.
won't even park in the paid parking. They'll double park so they don't have to pay the meter. Like it doesn't matter if you take away parking spots. Like people are just going to do whatever they want. They're not going to pay. They're not going to follow the rules. So let this place make more money, have more seating for their establishment so they can, have a successful business. I mean, we're not going to not let them have this just so we can keep one parking spot, two parking spots.
I think going back to what we've heard, it's more than just parking, it's the concern about the turn, the concern about the buses, and there is still on the table the truck route that may or may not be happening. I agree with what you said, that it doesn't seem like it's the best place for the truck route, but these things are also happening at the same time. Josephine, I believe now we've heard from all committee members who wanted to share. I believe we had one of our guests.
James Favis, yes.
Mm-hmm.
James.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to unmute myself. I don't know that I would agree with the sentiment that Third Avenue sucks, but I think that it was said in the spirit of difficulty, not necessarily in the true spirit of it. But
the double parking situation sucks. I just want to clarify.
Okay, thank you.
I love Third Avenue.
Appreciate that. But I would say, just to echo what was said before, that I think that parking is difficult all over the avenue, whether it's a street shed or a double parked vehicle. This is 4 spots off of the corner. This is somebody who's in the Merchants of Third Avenue corridor as well. It's an opportunity for a business to create additional space and dining. The hazards, I think, are there irrespective of whether that dining shed is there or not. But the same could be said for any dining shed along 3rd, 5th, or 4th Avenues for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Carmen has another question.
How big is the restaurant now?
What do you mean, the frontage?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we cannot hear.
Okay, Carmen asked the question how large the restaurant is now.
Thank you.
The frontage of the building is 20 feet. Or are you asking seat wise?
No, see, look at the
We have about 45 to 50 seats inside. We need a few more.
Okay. All right, Jane, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, then. So this is now what we have on the table, and Josephine, then I believe we need a motion to go forward.
Yeah, so I guess we could start first with the sidewalk and then go to roadway.
Perfect.
With the standard stipulation agreement, as part of the motion, that's part of the application that the applicant has read and agreed to. So we just need a motion. Jonathan, what is your
Thank you.
motion? Is it
Um,
in support?
In support of the road, the sidewalk.
So Jonathan makes a motion in support of the sidewalk cafe, with the stipulation. So we need a second. Romeo seconds, and any discussion? Then all in favor? Okay. Motion carries. So next is the roadway cafe. We would need a motion. Jonathan makes a motion again, okay.
The motion?
Is your motion in support?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jonathan makes a motion in support of the roadway cafe. Do we have a second? We have Liz Lovejoy seconded. Okay, so all in favor? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 in favor. How many opposed? 1, 2, 3 opposed. Okay, so motion carries. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so next item on the agenda. Okay, so New York City Department of Transportation notified Community Board 10. I'm sorry, we're moving on to the next item. Speed notified us about speed reduction locations in school slow zones. As part of Sammy's law that was passed in 2024, DOT will be reducing the speed limit to 15 miles per hour at every eligible school location in the city. 800 schools will see limits reduced this year. 700 are existing and 100 new. And the commitment from the mayor is that by the end of his first term, he hopes to have this accomplished. So speed cameras currently are in operation at school zones 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The current school zones with slow speeds that are currently at 20 miles per hour in CB10 that are part of the reduction to 15 were listed and shared with the committee members, and they're listed here on this. Speed camera violations are triggered when a motorist exceeds the speed limit by 11 miles above the posted speed limit. So the schools here are the Hebrew Academy for Special Children, PS 104 and IS 104, 6th Avenue. I mean, you can see the list here. To save time, I won't go through all of them. DOT is also proposing to add the following school slow zones this year, which is 71st Street between 6th and 7th Avenue, the Ralph Fabrizio School, 83rd Street between 3rd and 4th Avenue, 97th Street between Fort Hamilton Parkway and 4th Avenue, St. Patrick Catholic Academy. So even with these additions, several schools are not currently covered, and additional changes have occurred that are not reflected in DOT's list, including the closure of Visitation Academy. There's a change in name from St. Anselm's School to Bay Ridge Catholic, which is just a minor amendment. Junior High School 201 is now the Madeline Brennan School. K053 District 75 School is no longer located within PS 104. Additionally, the existing annex on 89th Street is not covered. The United Talmudical Academy opened within the existing slow zone on 14th Avenue between 62nd and 63rd Street. Schools, Jane Marie asked me to put together a list of schools that were not listed as part of this slow zone notification.
Wow.
In district, within Community District 10. So there are 21 locations listed here. PS 264, Fort Hamilton, the High School Telecommunications, AHRC, Bay Ridge Christian Academy. I mean, there's a whole list here. We went through our list of schools in CB10. If you could see on my screen. So there were 21 locations: Poly Prep, PS 69, 127, 176, 310. So there are a lot more, that, we are certainly, anticipating that will be included because Mayor Mondami in his announcement had stated that all eligible schools will be covered by the end of his term. So the community board has 60 days to comment on the proposal, the new schools slow zones, as well as the current locations that have 20 miles an hour that will be reduced to 15 if we have any feedback. And, after sharing this with Jane, some of the feedback were just some corrections, I think, as well as, what the committee would like to share the locations in District 10 that were not specifically cited in this notification. So Jane Marie, I'll turn it back to you.
Right, and Josephine, it's just escaping me right now, but the new middle school by where Nathan's had been, I don't know if we got that one down.
407. I thought it was on my list. If it's not.
Okay. Yeah, because that's, if you think about the traffic on 86th Street that passes directly in front of that school, that's.
Yes, it is here. It's number 10. Yes.
Yeah, again, we're looking about improving school safety, and this is something they want for all the schools. But, again, that's a very challenging thoroughfare.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, recently we had, DOT did complete school safety studies at 407 before it opened. Poly Prep, there was the road diet. We know PS 69, there was, lots of changes that were made there. So many of these schools, certainly the 7th Avenue corridor, had an extensive study by DOT. But I think that, as you mentioned, to me that, noting the schools that are not yet part of the notification.
Right. So just to go back to it now, at this point, are our piece would be to endorse this?
Yeah, we can endorse it and we could, you know, add any comments, you know, maybe some of the administrative changes that have changed since their notification to
Yeah.
us. As well as the additional schools that you asked. If the committee likes, you know, we could add that to the letter as well.
Mm-hmm. I see, Staley.
Lots of
has his
hands.
hand up.
Okay, Staley?
Mine was actually the last hand up. I'm happy to wait. I'm
Oh,
happy
I'm
to hear from
sorry.
Chris and Doris first.
I
No
apologize.
problem.
I didn't see you there.
Okay, Doris, Chris, whoever was
Um,
first.
I support it, but I really think it was a bit negligent of DOT to ignore so many schools. And I think since we have 60 days, we should say we want we have a list of how many schools? There were 21 schools.
21.
We should have them added to the list and then we will review it properly. But we support the concept, but there are too many schools missing.
Yeah, I think the rollout is incremental.
In phases.
Yes, it's done in phases because of, you know,
Mhm.
signage that's required and
Understandable, but for them to have missed that many schools is negligent.
I'm not sure that they,
And we need to have all those schools included on the list before we make a formal endorsement, in my opinion.
right, no, Doris, I'm not sure that they were missed as much as this is the increment that's being done now. So Chris?
Oh, well, okay.
Chris?
I was just going to say I also endorse it because I think it's formalizing what's always been implicit in the traffic regulations, which is that all the traffic's supposed to intentionally slow down around the schools. Yeah, so that's a really good thing. It's nice to see that. So but I agree with Doris. I mean, if there's a way that we can also include in whatever we decide to communicate as a final thing, that we say that it should be all schools, you know, if whether it's incremental or not, eventually it should be for all schools. That's all I had. Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
Awesome.
Staley?
I have two comments. One is I like Doris and Chris. I think this is a great idea. I think we should wholeheartedly endorse it. I think we should take a little bit of time with our endorsement letter. This really ties in to our Vision Zero pledge that we have here at the board. You know, this is something that's been a concern of the board for a long time. I think we can send a nice letter to our elected officials saying not only do we endorse this, but we want to see it like expanded and continued and so forth. And then the other piece of that is the schools that were missed, like Doris said, right? We also have a lot of data on this. Like Dan did that great safety study. I think we should also take our 60 days and come up with 4 or 5 schools that we really want to say, hey, these should be part of the initial rollout group. I think if we send a list of 20 schools and say you missed all of these, that won't be very effective. But if we say here's a handful that we really would like you to take a close look at in CB10, that would be great. And one last thing, I'll just say that in March, remember in March, we had the head of the dean of Poly PrepCom and specifically expressed concerns at our general board meeting about some near misses, you know, and an injury that occurred there at Poly Prep. So I think when we come up with those 4 or 5 schools, we should definitely include those guys. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely endorse it. I just want to make sure we send like some really nice letters up the chain to DOT and to our elected officials.
Can I comment?
Not yet, board members first, sorry. Romeo?
I know there's a couple of people from the DOT on the call. Can someone explain to me why it takes 3 years to make a sign? If you're making signs for the schools that we already think that we're going to change, why can't we just make more signs? I don't understand. And again, I have no idea what's involved in making the signs, but if you're making signs and we need them for all these schools, make them all, period.
This is Diana from the Brooklyn Borough Commissioner's Office. Not sure what you mean by like what make more signs mean. I get there's different types of signage. But more than happy to have that conversation offline with you and yourself and CB10.
Just one, we saw the mock-up of the sign. Why does it take 3 years to make a sign? You're already making the signs for schools that we're lowering the speed limit for. Why can't we make more signs?
I think there are many. I think it's voluminous in the city, but I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have 5 boroughs, just and unfortunately our team doesn't encompass, is not wide enough to do all 5 boroughs at once. But yeah, but thank you for that feedback.
No worries. Thank you.
Stephanie?
Yeah, I wanted to confirm the list that you showed us, those are schools that will have the signage put in front. That is correct?
Correct, yes.
It's an increment. So are there
Correct.
any schools that have been left off? This covers all of them in our district?
So no, I'm sorry, Stephanie, the notification by DOT was the first slide that I showed you. The first batch was schools that already have the lower speed limit at 20 miles an hour that will be changed to 15 miles per hour, and the 3 additional school zones that would be added.
Okay.
There are schools within Board 10 that are not part of this round of
Right.
signage that will happen, and we did put together the list of those school locations.
The ones that are not part of this round, though, they're already on a list for future?
Yes, the
To be addressed
commitment,
in the future.
right,
Okay.
the commitment by the mayors at all schools, all school
okay.
locations will be. But since there was some edits and some changes and things evolve and change with schools, we thought it best to, make notes of the changes to the existing list and then also make sure that none of our new schools, because we do have, a lot more
Right.
schools that are not on this list, to be included in that. And just a point of just clarification, the notification from the Department of Transportation provides 60 days to offer any comments, and that 60-day clock will end before the June board meeting. So this
Okay.
is our opportunity for the May meeting to submit those comments on the record for DOT.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, Dina, I'm sorry, you have your hand up.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe there's just something I'm not understanding, but why is it being rolled out in phases? It would just make more sense to just have all the schools at once, regardless of however long it takes to make a sign, just say like by this date, all the schools in the 5 boroughs are going to be 15 miles an hour. Yeah, is there an answer to that? I mean, especially when there's schools like Poly Prep that are requesting, more traffic calming measures, and like why that one wouldn't be included in the first phase if we have to absolutely do it in phases. That one seems to be one of the more problematic ones.
Yeah, I even wondered if they were using any kind of, crash data or what data that they were using to pick those out. Because when I saw the initial letter, I was very surprised at how many were not included in this first round, and especially noting that we have some very problematic intersections throughout our community. And it was really more about making sure that we name them, because we want to have that equity for all of our children and all of, whether they're in, elementary school or high school. And quite frankly, I don't believe that any of the pre-K centers were on this list. And
I think you're right.
Pre-K centers are a whole nother animal. Pre-K centers don't get crossing guards because it's assumed that a parent or an adult is taking them to school. There's not always buses going to the pre-K centers unless they have special education classes. Usually, like busing is not usually a part of the pre-K and 3K, but with 3K expansion in our community, we're not taking into consideration pre-K centers. And so and then there's daycare centers, like it just like expands and expands. But the pre-K locations, I feel, is also something that's missing from here. But that, you know, like I said, we wanted to make sure that we put out there that we have more concerns than just the initial, what was it, Josephine, 15 or 20 on
Yeah.
that post list?
Yes, I think it was about 20.
Right, so it's more than just these 20. And as I said, I am not sure how those were prioritized, but as Josephine said, they already have the 20-mile-an-hour notification.
Right, yes, and they'll be reduced. And just to share with the committee, you know, following the presentation by the headmaster of Poly Prep, the board did make a formal request to DOT, and we did receive confirmation that that corridor is being looked at by the school safety team. So I just want to assure you that that is happening as well. Doris and then Staley?
I just want to support what Jane Marie said. It's incredible that they did not include pre-Ks. Because that is a huge and growing part of our school population. And it's, again, I said it initially, it's negligent on the part of the DOT. And we need to be sure that all schools of any age are included.
Yeah, I believe that there are 13 or 14 pre-K centers, New York City public school pre-K centers within community, within District 20, which is encompassed majority in Community Board 10. So, you know, it's that.
So even if they're not all in Community Board 10, we're talking
Right.
probably close to 30 in Community Board 10 that have been ignored or put on the back burner. And that is not acceptable. As somebody said, how long does it take to print a sign? Thank you.
Staley?
Josephine, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I just want to kind of clarify that I think we're talking about two separate conversations here, right? The schools that are not included in the reduction of speed to 15 miles per hour are schools that are not school speed zones now, right?
Correct.
So there's a different process. It's not that those schools were ignored for the lower speed limits, it's that they're just not part of the slow speed zones that exist, right?
That's right.
Right. So I just want to make sure, I think everyone's clear on that we're really talking about two things. We're talking about endorsing lowering the speed limits, which everyone's in favor on. And then I think we're also talking about highlighting a couple of schools that are not school slow zones that we want to make into school slow zones, right? Two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no other, or there's one other committee member, and then we'll go to public questions. Carmen?
Right, I don't know why this keeps coming to mind, but I'm just imagining speed cameras are expensive and there's maintenance. Is that a charge that we get charged for that, or is that an MTA charge? Like
The speed cameras are put up by the city of New York.
the city,
Mhm.
we have no cost to us or anything, or
I mean, I don't know, they generate revenue for the, you know,
Right.
through violations, yeah.
I don't know why.
Okay. Okay, so we have a public question.
Passengers United believes that Sammy's law should be applied on a case-by-case basis. Because, yes, it could slow down traffic, but on major thoroughfares, it'll only just slow down, it'll only increase traffic, hence increase pollution.
Okay.
I mean, what about buses? They have to slow down too. And that'll increase running time and increase operating costs. I mean, I'm just here to provide a counterpoint so that everybody can have the full picture. I mean, yes, it may slow down people 3 minutes by 3 minutes a day, but those 3 minutes can add up. Increasing traffic, hence increasing pollution. So that's why I think that it was right those schools were taken off because they're on major thoroughfares and have buses. That's just my opinion.
All right, thank you. All right, Jane Marie, so I think we're ready. There's no further hands up.
All right, so thank you so much for that. And thank you all for your discussion as we always continue to prioritize safety for our community. So we have this on the table to endorse the DOT new law. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read it. The speed reduction locations and school slow zones. All right. So do we have a motion for that endorsement? Am I going to count on Jonathan? again?
Jonathan, yep, he's
Yeah,
again.
thank
All
you,
right,
Jonathan.
Jonathan, yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have a second? Okay, Carmen,
Thank you.
Dino, all right, all in
Okay.
favor? Okay, any opposed? Doris,
I'm opposed because we're not adding our concerns about the 30+ schools that they have ignored.
I think though that in Josephine's points that she had made on our slide, that we pointed out those Josephine, you had some name errors, some
yeah,
things that you had pointed out there. And again, that we can perhaps say that we can look to see it expanded to other schools within our community and our community just in our district.
yeah, and I think we could provide this list of schools within Community District 10.
So I think they have ignored some schools with serious safety concerns.
Right. I don't know their criteria for the slow zone. I was just trying to, and so as Staley pointed out, it's those who had the existing 20 mile per hour are going down to 15 mile per hour. But they haven't, that's where they have prioritized this movement, but it's not supposed to be ending there. It's supposed to be continuing. All right.
Now I would like to know the timeline for the continuance.
Okay, we can ask that.
I believe Staley, do you still have your hand up? I'm sorry.
I do. I'm sorry to make another comment. So again, I think I would like to see us separate this into two different motions. I think the motion on the table now is just to endorse the list that was given to us by DOT of the schools where we're reducing the speed limit, and we should vote on that.
We voted.
And then
We voted already.
which we just did. Perfect. And I think that's great. I'll go ahead and make another motion. I would like to make a motion that we revisit at our next TNT meeting the schools that are not on the list, look at our data, and put together a recommendation of a handful of schools that we really want to emphasize. That we don't have a 60-day deadline for that, so we can do that after the board meeting, the general board meeting.
You want to do it tonight?
No, I'd like to look at our study. We have a great pedestrian safety study. We have some data we can look at. I think we can make a really strong case for a couple of schools. And I think that's better than sending a big list of schools. It's better to make a strong case for a couple of places that we really feel are important.
Well, wouldn't eventually all those schools wind up on the list?
Yeah, every school is going to be done. Yes.
No, because not all of those schools are going to become school slow zones. Or the mayor said he's going to try to do it by the end of his term.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's going to happen. That means he's promising he's going to try. Right. I think what we could do to really contribute to this is take this data that we have and really make a case for the schools that we feel the areas that we feel are really important. And we're not under a 60-day deadline to do that. We can do that for the June general board meeting.
Well, I mean, I'll just say, in terms of order, for our June TNT meeting is going to be very busy. We have 3 major proposals on it. I mean, I want to share with you now, but we have 3 major proposals. We did send the pedestrian safety report ahead. If there are certain schools right now that we can, add or do crash data for, we can certainly send that along. I just, I don't, I'm not sure of but maybe there's a criteria for us to prioritize. We could take a quick look at crash data and requests we've had.
Well, can I guess I'll just ask, can I have a second on the motion? My motion is to revisit the schools that are not on the list at our next TNT meeting and then and present a formal proposal following that TNT
I second
meeting.
that.
I just would want to ask or add that we once again, there seems to be like a little uncertainty as to how DOT comes up with their list. I think that, you know, as I said, I didn't know what crash data they were using or speeding by the schools. I'm not sure of how they came to their list and their priorities. So I would also like to hear, frankly, what DOT's priorities are. So this way, when we're looking at our schools and our lists, we're working with the same criteria that DOT is.
That's
Because
great.
We're
All the
bringing
more-
in
Agreed.
if we're bringing in our own study, it again may be vastly different from what they're looking at. And I understand different perspectives can help, you know, gain insight, but we have to have the other party at the table. So we'd have to have, you know, we have DOT. I see names that say DOT on this call, but I don't know if someone from there can kind of shed some light on this while we're here this evening.
Yeah, I would just say, I think all of those are reasons to give ourselves a little bit of extra time to work on that part of it. And that's why I'm making the motion.
That name for our committee, like 2, meeting twice in May just to get through this.
We would, yeah, in other words, we would have another meeting, invite DOT to it to establish the criteria and take a look at it. It would, yeah, we would have to have 2 meetings. I mean, because we have a meeting set that's.
Right,
would
we
probably
have
be
the
offsite.
June meeting is set.
Yeah.
Is what you're
June
saying, but I agree that this is something that we need to
And
revisit,
so we could have another meeting, that's fine.
you know.
If the committee likes, that's.
Well, that would also be.
I support another meeting.
Agreed that no.
Okay. Stephanie, you had your hand raised? I'm sorry. Was that
Yeah, it
for
was just about the timing and the execution of this, because Staley, when you said we, I'm not really sure who we is, because a lot of the work falls on the district office in terms of fleshing out data, collecting it, and I know the target time, obviously sooner is always better, but if June is not feasible, I would hope that we could at least keep this on the agenda even for the fall. Usually these things take a while. I wish they didn't, but again, also up to you, Jane, as well. If you're willing to undertake it, I certainly support the concept of fleshing out more of the data and coming up with a list and supporting the original initiative.
Right, so we are in favor of supporting the original initiative, and that has already been voted on and agreed upon. It's just, what do we do next? And, you know, Staley's point is to act sooner rather than later. We've also acknowledged that things aren't going to necessarily happen in, you know, a very, they may not happen very, very quickly. Is it something that we can revisit in the fall and invite DOT for more information?
Well, we can invite DOT for another June meeting and start there with the criteria.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. We shouldn't wait till the fall.
Okay.
We need to get in there quickly.
Okay. Background noise. Okay, I think that's Staley. Staley, I'm just going to mute you because there's a lot of background noise, I think, coming from you. Okay. All right. So okay, everyone's okay with that?
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll go to the next agenda item.
Thank you.
Which is the DOT presentation regarding the Third Avenue Safety Improvement Plan project. So I know Diana, you're here and your team is here if you want to introduce them and.
Of course. I actually don't see you see us, right? I can't see the
Yeah.
list of everyone, but yeah, great. So today we're gonna have a presentation, and thank you for everyone's time. And just joining us while our project manager is gonna lead the presentation. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Hi, everyone. My name is Jack Holmes. I'm a freight planner in the Freight Mobility Unit at DOT, and I'm going to share with you some of our proposed safety enhancements for Third Avenue from Wakeman Place to 86th Street. I'm going to share my screen. I assume people can see?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, great. So to get right into it, we're going to be going over where this project is coming from, a bit of its background, the existing conditions and what we saw through the data analysis and through our site visits, a few examples of the proposed safety enhancements along the corridor, and a timeline with anticipated next steps. A bit of background on the Freight Mobility Unit. So our work focuses on the movement of freight in and throughout New York City. We work to make these movements safer, more sustainable. We work to make the overall network more efficient. And we do a lot of work to develop partnerships and relationships with local communities, community organizations, and also freight industry partners to raise awareness about our different programs and initiatives. And this project in particular seeks to address a few of the items on the bottom of the slide: truck priority safety corridors, areas where there are high concentrations of truck-involved crashes with vulnerable road users. We are looking to improve safety along existing truck routes, and we are currently working on the update to the citywide truck route network, something that came up in this meeting, in response to Local Law 171, and I will get into that in the next slide. So in 2023, the City Council passed Local Law 171, which mandated DOT to conduct an update of the citywide truck route network to focus on improving safety and visibility and efficiency while taking into consideration existing freight patterns. The last comprehensive update to the network was in the 1970s. Obviously, a lot has changed since then. There's more traffic, but there's more truck traffic, but this truck traffic is also happening in different places now than it was 50 years ago. So a big part of this effort is to really bring an outdated network in line with a lot of the activity that we are seeing today that has been going on for some time. So as mentioned, the proposed route changes in Bay Ridge would be to designate 3rd Avenue from 65th Street to 86th Street as a local truck route, and to designate 86th Street from 3rd Avenue to Fort Hamilton Parkway as a local truck route. And these two streets were chosen for these proposed additions because they experience already the most significant truck traffic in the neighborhood, and they are the most commercial corridors in the neighborhood. Many of these businesses, as you know, receive multiple daily deliveries, and adding these local truck route additions will really serve to formalize that route and also serve as an impetus for safety improvements along the route to complement these truck route changes. So to get into existing conditions of what we saw along 3rd Avenue through our data analysis and our site visits, right now you're looking at a map of the crash history along 3rd Avenue from Wakeman Place to 86th Street from the past 5 years. There are a few things that I want to highlight in this slide. The first being that almost half of pedestrian injuries occurred while pedestrians were crossing with the signal. So this is indicative of drivers failing to yield to pedestrians while a pedestrian is in the crosswalk with the right of way, which is something we want to address through our proposed safety enhancements. Another thing I'd like to point out is that almost a third of motor vehicle injuries occurred due to side swipes. Now, this includes cars to pass double parked cars or double parked trucks along the corridor. They swerve out into an oncoming lane of traffic, sideswipe a car or a pedestrian, and cause an accident and an injury. And then, you know, this sideswipe statistic also includes cars trying to overtake each other in intersections, which causes crashes and injuries. We conducted many different site visits to the corridor, and a lot of what we saw was in line with the data. So as you know, a lot of truck activity along 3rd Avenue serving businesses, a lot of truck turns on and off of 3rd Avenue, busy intersections with often dangerous driving on behalf of drivers, almost constant double parking up and down the corridor, both by passenger cars and by delivery trucks, and long pedestrian crossing distances at particular intersections where, you know, people are really vulnerable to vehicles as they seek to cross the crosswalk, especially vulnerable road users. And one thing I'll mention here before I move on is, in addition to this work, we conducted merchant surveys of businesses along 3rd Avenue to get a sense of what they were experiencing in terms of deliveries and traffic congestion, and general activity along the corridor. To get into what we are proposing to improve some of these conditions that we saw, what you're about to see are designs for, you know, a few select intersections. And you can expect to see, you know, different bits and pieces of these throughout 3rd Avenue. So this is a section of 3rd Avenue from 68th Street to Bay Ridge Avenue. Here, we're really looking at concrete and painted curb extensions to shorten those long crossings, improve visibility for pedestrians, especially people crossing mid-block at 68th Street. Those mid-block crossings can be very tricky, especially when there are parked cars blocking people's views. We want to provide queuing space for people as they wait to cross the street. And we want to slow down turning movements by vehicles to make sure that people are making those turns safely and that they can see pedestrians when pedestrians are in the crosswalk. Beyond the physical street changes, we are looking at signal timing changes to improve the overall traffic flow and make sure that you know, travel times are improve and that vehicles are getting through the intersection at an appropriate pace. A second, excuse me. Here we go. A second example of what we are proposing. This is the section of 3rd Avenue from 71st Street to 73rd Street. Again, concrete and painted curb extensions to shorten crossing distances for pedestrians and emphasize their right-of-way in the intersection to try to combat a lot of the pedestrian injuries we saw in the crash data. Again, signal timing changes throughout the corridor to improve travel times and reduce traffic congestion. Here, we are also proposing a truck loading zone. This will allow trucks to deliver to local businesses and cut down on a lot of the double parking when a truck can't find a space and it's forced to double park and, you know, takes up a truck as it unloads to complete its deliveries. So these truck loading zones are intended to provide a designated space for trucks to unload. And then again, we have hardened center lines here. You can see these red lines in the painted median. Those are intended to prevent vehicles from trying to overtake one another in intersections and from making illegal U-turns, which you know, were the cause of several injuries that were present in the crash data. One final example we'll show from here is the section of 3rd Avenue from 74th Street to 76th Street. Everything, you know, you saw before is also present here. Concrete and painted curb extensions. Again, signal timing changes with truck loading zones and hardened center lines. The goal is really to just improve pedestrian safety, make it more accessible for pedestrians to move up and down the corridor, and slow down vehicle turning movements so that people, you know, drivers can recognize when a pedestrian is in the crosswalk and reducing those conflicts that we saw. So to summarize, you know, this is really about improving pedestrian safety and accessibility along the corridor. It's also that through our signal timing changes, we want to improve travel times and overall traffic flow and reduce the number of conflict points between motorists and road users, especially at busy intersections. And we also want to improve curb management and access for trucks making local deliveries. All of this, will be done in coordination with the Borough Commissioner Office and the 68th Precinct to ensure that enforcement, is proceeding as needed and that people are abiding by the rules. So our, expected timeline and next steps, we are here presenting to you tonight. We are looking to kick this project off later this summer and complete it by late fall, and then spend the first half of 2027 monitoring post-implementation and looking at, any changes in the data, any changes in the field observations, seeing what's working, see if anything needs to be tweaked, and, conducting a general assessment of how the project proceeded. So that's it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much for your time. And yeah, happy to feel free to jump in, I suppose.
Okay, so maybe we'll just stop the share for a minute.
Yes.
So we could see everyone. I'm having a hard time. I know I saw Chris had his hand up first. Chris Esserani.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about some of the accident statistics, if you could go back to that slide for a second.
Let me share.
I was just curious about some of them. And then I had two other questions.
So you're referring to here?
Yeah. So motorized two vehicles, are those electric two-wheel bikes or motorcycles or?
Motorized two-wheelers is a catch-all for a a motorcycle or
could be a moped, could be, yeah, okay. And then, so are all of these injuries that are the cause of motor vehicles, or are these cyclists with pedestrians, a combination? Because I saw you were emphasizing just the motor vehicles and not the 15 and the 22 in here. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to read all the injuries. Is it just that the way the streets are set up, pedestrians are prone to being involved in an accident that could involve a cyclist, a two-wheeler, or a car?
Yes. So these are these injuries, happen for a multitude of different reasons.
Multitude of different reasons. Okay. The other question I had was, the truck zones don't seem like it's a very new thing to me, because don't we already do that? I'm not saying this as a statement of opposition or anything, just that it makes sense to me. Like, I understand what you're saying, that, in certain areas is the plan within from 68th Street to 86th Street, or 68th Street, for example, to Bay Ridge Parkway, to add additional loading and unloading zones? Is that how I'm reading that? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then the last question I had was, I like that there's a center piece to prevent people from, going around other vehicles, like to kind of discourage that. But at the same time, I have to say, coming out of this big snow that we had, all of the plastic abutments, or fiberglass abutments that were bolted to the street, the ones that lay flat and are bolted, that are yellow and black, they were all ripped out of the street by sanitation. And it strikes me as an incredibly wasteful and destructive enterprise to use such things when we destroy them, and then at cost to taxpayers, we have to then reinstall them or repave our streets every winter. You know what I mean? Like, I commend the idea of that. I don't know if that deterrent structure is something that's, like, for example, one of those, it's like those things that the buses destroy all the time, the ones that, like, stick up, they're like a pole, but they're plastic and you can knock it down. It's just, I see all of those things and then I see they're gone. you know, and I just worry that I get the intent, and I appreciate the idea that it's in the hopes that it will discourage motorists, but even motorists aside, it seems like somehow, some way they get destroyed and then we have to pay to have them reinstalled again. It's just an observation, however you want to take that back. I don't know if other people have ever expressed that back to you, but after this last winter, there were scores of those yellow guards like littering. They were obliterated, and the bolts that like tie them into the sidewalk are just scary and probably destructive to tires and things like that. So that's all I have. But thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in coordination with sanitation, and part of the post implementation evaluation will be to see how things are working. So thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. So next is Doris, and then Staley.
Thank you for reviewing the corridor because it's important. But I was curious, in your maps from 68th to 79th, 71 to 73, and 74 to 76, you don't show where there are traffic signals. And especially below 73rd Street, from 68th to 73rd Street, there are several blocks that do not have traffic signals, and they're very confusing intersections in some areas. So I would like to see that included. And you don't show bus stops anywhere. And there are many bus stops there. And buses cause additional problems for drivers and pedestrians. And your suggestion for truck loading zones, would the truck loading zones have limited hours, or would they be all day?
So they would have limited hours.
Okay. Could you go back and review your data and send the district office the maps showing where there are traffic signals?
Yes, this presentation will be uploaded to the DOT website.
But could you update it to include what intersection have traffic signals, have traffic lights?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Staley?
I kind of want to get back to the core issue of adding a truck route to 3rd Avenue. This was proposed, to my knowledge, in like 5 or 6 years ago as well. It didn't move forward. It never happened. Why now? Why do we need a truck route on 3rd Avenue all of a sudden? What has changed in the last 5 years that we suddenly need this to be put on that street?
Yeah, well, the primary thing is Local Law 171, which mandates DOT as an agency to reevaluate the truck route network and make changes to bring it in line with the activity we're seeing today. And in Bay Ridge, that activity is happening along 3rd Avenue more than any other corridor, which is the reason behind the designation, so that it can regulate the activity that is already there.
I would just like to add also that, as you can see by this evening's presentation, when we talk about 3rd Avenue, we talk about really one of the main, as you know, main arteries of our neighborhood. It is a main corridor for our businesses. And it is something that, as you can see from tonight's presentation, we're talking about sidewalk cafes, we're talking about roadway cafes, and we're talking about street festivals. And these are all vibrant parts of our community and of our community life. So I'm not really sure how the truck route, which is 365 days a year, is what my understanding is, and that it is a 24-hour-a-day thing that they can have trucks going through at any time of day and on any day of the week. I'm not sure how that fits in with what is already happening on 3rd Avenue. Not to mention, as we've said at previous meetings, and as you pointed out, we are concerned about safety. And we are concerned for our pedestrians, for our, whether you're walking, riding in a car, riding on a bike, taking a city bus, you're on Third Avenue. And that's a real issue for our community. And the truck loading zones will kind of add to the pressure of all this happening as well. And you also, and as we noted, as Chris noted, with the those hardened center lines, that too may create issues, problems, not merely solutions, but problems as well.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. One thing I would like to sort of emphasize is that, you know, this route will not be introducing new trucks to Bay Ridge. Any truck, you know, trucks won't be using this as a cut through. If a truck needs to get to, say, Diker Heights or the Verrazano, it will use the Gowanus Expressway, right? So this route is really for trucks that are already serving businesses in Bay Ridge, and it's making sure that they do not deviate from that route.
How do you know that?
Sorry?
How do you know that?
The routes that trucks take to move, you know, through South Brooklyn, moving through Bay Ridge would not be, you know, if you're using a GPS route, it's going to be much slower than taking the existing Gowanus Expressway or the existing 7th Ave route. And part of our post-implementation evaluation will be to take a look at that data, you know, and see if you know, the activity has changed and what's going on and if any changes need to be made.
Because isn't in fact 7th Avenue currently the truck route at this time? And if I'm recalling, 7th Avenue, because of the width of the avenue, was one of the main reasons, Josephine, if I'm
Right.
correct.
Yeah, so
That was-
7th Avenue isn't,
right.
the service road isn't existing. The board did motion in February when the report was released at the end of the year. And we did reach out to DOT in a motion in a letter to the commissioner, to which we have not received a response. And some of the questions that we asked were these very questions. Yes, does Third Avenue have a lot of truck traffic? Absolutely. Will this bring more? Yeah, I mean, I think the argument has been, and we have seen, that trucks look to make connections to cross town. And right now that connection is made through 7th Avenue. Having trucks now have the ability, when the Gowanus Expressway, when there's construction and there's work, or there's the bridge that's out, they, you know, knowing that they can now, they don't use 3rd Avenue. I would argue many don't use 3rd Avenue because they would be subject to a summons or enforcement because they're not on a truck route, especially if they're not delivering. I don't know if that's anecdotal. I mean, I think that's kind of, you know, what's a lot of the sentiment that was expressed at our last meeting, that it really doesn't make sense to have a vibrant commercial district that's at the heart of the community district 10 with restaurants be added to the truck route map for those reasons to add another route for trucks to take to get to the Verrazano, utilizing from Sunset Park, 2nd Avenue, moving on to 3rd Avenue and traversing now up 86th Street, adding 86th Street from 3rd to 7th Avenue. Right now, that connection is made at the 7th Avenue service lane, which is above, you know, which is not between 3rd and 7th Avenue. So those were concerns that were raised in the February motion. You know, it would be helpful, I think, to understand what studies were done to get to this point, and that was some of the questions that we asked, because I think you need to substantiate why this area was picked. This is a very important commercial corridor in District 10. I know that the president of the 3rd Avenue Merchants is here, and you know, a lot of it is enforcement driven too. A lot of the truck, we have lots of truck loading loading zones that are just, you know, when you don't have enforcement, you still end up with the double parking and misuse, especially if they're not conveniently, you know, if they're not, if they're misused. But I mean, I think that's a side, I think it could be helpful to have loading zones in certain areas, but I think the addition of the truck route, the letter that was sent to the commissioner's office, you know, which included a lot of the comments that were just mentioned, would be helpful. Because we are moving forward to rulemaking. I mean, rulemaking comments are due in early June, I think 2nd or 6th. So the board will be making comments tonight. And I just want to add that this addition to tonight's agenda as an SIP project tied to the truck route wasn't clear when we calendared this, and we appreciate, but it seems as if it's being planned as such. And I think the concerns are there, certainly. So I just wanted to mention that I do have a slide on the last motion that we made with specific asks of DOT, and that was sent in February, and we do hope that we can receive a response, a very detailed response. And I wish we would have had it before tonight's meeting, because we didn't even realize that rulemaking would happen so quickly.
I will follow up with that for you, okay? I know there's some liaison changes since then, but I will definitely look up that letter and get a response.
Thank you, Diana. Jane, I'll turn it back to you if you want to. I think James has his hand raised.
Yes, I don't think are there any other board members? Or I believe I see Dino now.
Just a quick question, because I think it was presented that this local law 171 requires an expansion, but from my understanding, it's merely just a redesign. So I don't know if you want to clarify that. It just feels like you're kind of like presenting it in a certain way that isn't. It's kind of like misrepresenting what the law requires.
Yeah, so it's a redesign to take into consideration existing freight patterns. So it's looking at where freight was once occurring, where it maybe isn't anymore, and where it is now occurring that it wasn't before, and adjusting the truck route network to those patterns.
Okay, so it doesn't require an expansion.
No, not per se.
Okay. And then I would just like to second everything everyone's been saying. I mean, Third Avenue is already congested, and potentially adding more trucks is going to be a nightmare. And it could really, destroy Third Avenue the way we know it. So I don't think there was a lot of thought put into this by DOT in regards of, the potential effects that it could have. Imagine, all the outdoor dining we have, and now we have, 53-foot trucks trying to cut through because the BQE is backed up. It just doesn't make any sense to use Third Avenue of all our thoroughfares for a truck route.
Mm-hmm. And we can't forget that above all of those businesses are apartments and families living as well. Not seeing any other of our committee members, we can now.
Sorry, I just want to
Oh,
add real quick.
sorry.
I'm Andrew Diaz, freight planner, working with Jack. I just wanted to throw in the chat the rulemaking process. Comment period opens soon, I believe, and it's due by June 9th. So I'm going to send the link in the chat so everyone with their comments and concerns can also throw it in that area as well for the official rulemaking process.
And is that something that we could share then, Josephine, with our?
Well, we did. It's actually on the
Right.
agenda because we did receive the formal notification of rulemaking.
Okay.
We did receive that notification, so it is on the agenda tonight. And the reason why it is because it's moved so quickly now that we thought it would be later this year, but it's before the June board meeting, so we would have to submit those comments now by the May meeting. Doris, and then Carmen, and then James. James has been very patient.
I would like to reinforce something that Jane Marie said. Third Avenue is a residential district with a commercial overlay. This is a residential community board with commercial overlays. So we must remember the Third Avenue is residential also and not commercial.
Carmen?
I just have to slow it down to just think I'm gonna rephrase it. I just feel like we've just been hijacked. I can understand you needing a truck route, but at the same time, living in this neighborhood for 40 years and loving every avenue, and especially loving Third Avenue, the first thing I'm thinking of is, you have your charts and you have your visuals, and that's fine. I know a lot of thought has gone into it, but at the same time, I'm thinking, school buses go through there. The restaurants are hurting. Accessorite will stop traffic for somebody to get in and out, and I know that because I use it. Sanitation trucks, fire trucks, families, the number of families and people just going to and from work. We have all the hospitals, we have all these schools, and all those will slow down if they're picking somebody up or dropping somebody off or looking for a parking.
Right.
And everybody's competing for space to just live their lives. And then the thought of all these trucks, to me, it's like, it's almost like shutting Third Avenue down already. And then I'm thinking I'm at the other end, at 86th Street, with all the kids that just run crazy and rampant there. No, there's nobody to slow them down. And I don't see one thing that's appealing to the neighborhood, but it's very appealing for your end to get the trucks from point A to point B. But for us, we're gonna be left with this aftermath of, like a parade of trucks. Now with the city of, yes, at my church, I have to go to church earlier than I want to on Sundays, because what happens there, where people would say, like, all these trucks will be like circling the church, even where it says, please, no parking, so that the elderly or people that need, with mobility issues to get out, now they have to go a little further down the block where they used to just be able to stop the car and get in. It's like, once you open this door, we're gonna be left with everything that's not gonna be good about it. And, I understand, we have to keep things moving in the city, but at the same time, I don't see anything or hear anything. I understand like the pedestrian, statistics, but I also see cars going too fast and people on scooters and people crossing the street not young people not even paying attention. But this truck route, I can't see one thing of benefit for the neighborhood.
Thank you, Carmen. Jane? We have Chris and then James. Chris, you're on mute?
No, James was before me. James
Okay.
should go
All right,
first,
well,
yeah.
you're a board member, so we're gonna finish board members with you, and
Okay.
then we're gonna go to James.
No, I was just going to reiterate, yeah, it's becoming slightly confusing because I don't know if this is simply a road configuration where, we're realigning, how our streets are configured, or if this is a truck route. It's becoming very confusing. And I think the frustration ultimately gets acted out by pedestrians, motorists, cyclists, and delivery people. I have a friend who owns a delivery business with about 20 bicycles, and he told me we've lost all road equity. Because it used to be the streets were so open and clear that you had vision and could see everything on major avenues. And now everything is being constricted and barricaded and barred. And that's why you're seeing an increase in accidents. You're not seeing a decrease in accidents. I still don't see that yet. So I'm a bit concerned about this because I don't know exactly what it is the presentation is. I mean, if you wanted to present to me that, Third Avenue has some places for loading and unloading, and we're adding new ones, and we're adding, some islands so that people have a shorter distance to cross the streets, that's fine. But I don't think anyone is being fully transparent on what the actual intent is. And that's a problem, especially if DOT doesn't know it itself. And if they're just doing this because it's coming up on high, that this is a priority to do this in all these different avenues and all these different streets, that's really problematic because there has to be some well thought out planning to all of this because we're all going to have to live with it. And I think seeing the accident statistics that drew my attention right away, I think we've got to be really focused on the safety, but then there's also the commerce piece. And if we drive people away from Third Avenue, that's going to be a real problem too. So I'm just asking for clarity in all this because I will respond to the open public comments, but I really I don't like the chess game that this appears to be. I really would like clarity that focuses on safety first, and then our local economy, and our residents' well-being. And I think those three things, I want to see that in the presentations as well. I don't really see that it's there. I just don't know what this is. It a truck route or is it a reconfiguration? So thank you.
James?
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk through this. I hope you'll bear with me because I've got several points. I've been taking notes and listening to all the the commentary from the board members. I, for the DOT representative, I'm the president of the Merchants of Third Avenue, the largest commercial corridor in New York City that runs from 67th Street to Marine Avenue. We represent all the merchants along Third Avenue. We've got significant membership, and we're responsible for the summer strolls that happen on Third Avenue, the festival, the Third Avenue Festival that's been going on 50 plus years. We've been doing a tremendous amount of beautification along the avenue, cleanups, a whole assortment of different things and events throughout Bay Ridge that I know that a lot of the board members here are well familiar with. But I don't know that the DOT representatives are, so I thought I'd share that with you. Some of the things that I feel, someone mentioned that this is being railroaded. That's the feeling that we as the merchants have, that this is a fait accompli process. And you're here to tell us what you're going to be doing and not truly asking us for our opinion, insights, and thought and feedback so that we can make some sort of an impact on the ultimate decision process. With respect to loading and unloading zones, there are plenty of loading and unloading zones along Third Avenue. The problem is that they're not used. The trucks don't use them, and people park in them. So I think what's happening is that you're hiding behind local law 171 to change to legalize the illegal activity that's happening along Third Avenue. I think if there was enforcement of some of the issues, some of the problems that you're saying are problems that you're trying to change and now make allowable, you wouldn't have these issues. Whether it be double parking, whether it be, I don't think speeding's an issue because you can't move that fast on Third Avenue because of the amount of traffic. But the people parking in the loading and unloading zones, we're starting to see them. They're not used anymore, and they're just used as parking spots. We've lost enough parking, but our merchants need to have the ability to have outdoor road cafes as well to be able to generate the revenue that they need to pay the city tax, the city real estate taxes that are perpetually being raised on us. I think that one of the things that I question with regards to the statistics and the accidents that you put out there is you found a lot of numbers of accidents and you put those out to share them with us. And I don't doubt that there are some significant and fatal, if not KSI accidents, as you put it. But I question how many of those are between truck and pedestrian, or vehicle and pedestrian, or truck and vehicle. I think a good portion of those side swipes and other things are vehicle on vehicle that may or may not be relevant to whether there was a truck loading or unloading on the avenue. I think those are just, and there's no way to determine that unless you went deeper into those reports, which I'm not sure that you did. You mentioned earlier that you reached out to, you did a merchant survey about this and got feedback, sought and solicited feedback from merchants. I represent the largest organization of organized merchants on the avenue with over 140 members. I don't recall ever seeing anyone reaching out to us saying, hey, could you ask your 140 plus members for their opinion on this? So I'm not sure who you spoke to or who provided you that feedback, but we certainly did not. Because if we had provided that feedback, you would have heard very strongly that we are in significant opposition to this. You're trying to normalize, you're trying to legalize illegal behavior, and instead of enforcing and fixing that behavior, you want to make it okay, and that will significantly impact our local merchants, the residents, the backbone of Third Avenue, which is the residents who live on it and the surrounding community. Without that, by doing this, it will significantly impact it. And I think that will be detrimental to Third Avenue. Thank you. So if I wasn't clear with it, we are adamantly opposed to this process and feel that it is almost fait accompli, and that's not the way this process should work. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I agree that there is you know, we're supposedly in this phase where they're looking at the truck redesign and going to be going through this process. And as we mentioned, when we got the initial report, Josephine, that was February, I believe, that
Yes.
we were writing our feedback to that, and we have not heard anything yet. And as you see that it's May, and so the presentation that we received tonight for safety enhancements for Third Avenue, it seems to be enhancements for the truck redesign as was presented to us in February.
Well,
It doesn't.
right, we reviewed, the board,
Right.
the committee reviewed it, not with a formal DOT presentation. We did make that request.
Right.
And that didn't happen.
Mhm.
So the February motion, which I just put up on the screen, was to send the letter to DOT and copies to our elected officials. And you know, we did hear from our local council member, who also reached out to DOT to advocate for what we had asked for. So the motion is on the screen now, which was a letter to DOT, and Diana, who's our new liaison, said that she would follow up on this. But the questions were to, you know, did DOT do traffic studies along the proposed truck route, specifically 65th and 3rd, 75th and 3rd, 86th, and fit, you know, 86th Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway, Gatling Place, 86th and 92nd Street. CB10 requested copies of those reports to review. You know, we asked if there would be enforcement on overweight trucks. We asked if they're proceeding with the plan to put trucks on residential streets when New York City is already moving ahead with moving containers by water using the Blue Highway. We shared our safety concerns, you know, about the presence of 53-foot trucks, the environmental impact, the impact on quality of life for our merchants, the infrastructure strain with overweight trucks. So we did put this in a motion. I just wanted to refresh members' memories back in February. So tonight we have two areas to comment on. One is the Third Avenue presentation that was made to us tonight. We have the ability to make comments on it, if I'm correct with DOT. And then the second is the rulemaking process, which is, you know, a CAPA public process that allows us as a board to provide comments and feedback specifically on the Third Avenue addition of the truck route on Third Avenue and along 86th Street within Community Board 10.
Okay.
You repeat that? Sorry.
No. So Doris, we have two on the agenda tonight. We have two items that we have to provide comments. The first to DOT on the presentation that Jack just made.
Okay.
On the SIP, the Safety Improvement Plan, that includes the truck loading zones, the enhanced, you know, the enhanced crossings, the proposal that he just put forward to us. And the second, separate and apart from that, is the truck route. The truck route additions in Community District 10 on Third Avenue and on 86th Street.
Okay. I see Staley has his hand up.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and make the first motion. I think I'm gonna make a motion that we strongly oppose the expansion of the truck route along Third Avenue. And in our strong opposition to it, we reiterate the points that were made tonight and in our February meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jonathan just seconded it. Do we have discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. I don't have to say abstentions or recusals.
Okay.
Maybe 1 week you.
He's not a board member. Okay, and Carmen?
And I just want to thank James for attending Cause I feel like I came here to hear one presentation and heard two that were complete opposite of each other. So, as heartbroken as I felt already about Third Avenue changing, I really appreciate his input and all the other information he brought to that. Like, I never realized like how many stores and how many other, that, those stores represent families that are servicing us. And, I'm glad he attended the meeting today.
Okay.
I really am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
for the opportunity to attend, an invitation.
Okay. Okay, so now Josephine, we have a second. If you could just. A second opportunity you stated.
So in Staley's motion that addresses the Third Avenue truck route, does that include the feedback to the SIP? I guess they do kind of work hand in hand. So does that apply to both? Is my question. Staley, did you mean it to apply to both?
I meant that we should.
First,
guess
the
I meant
truck route, right?
to oppose the truck route. However, since you called on me again, I will say that my feeling from the presentation that we received tonight is that DOT sees the street improvements as tied with the truck route, right? And
Correct.
while in principle we support street safety improvements, I think in this particular case it's one and the same with the truck route, unless I'm totally misreading the situation.
I fully agree with you. Yeah.
Those truck routes could destroy their avenue. So.
Okay. Stephanie?
In rejecting the truck route, though, I don't want it to appear as if we're rejecting the street safety improvement initiatives here. Is there a way to separate it out and ask them to consider looking at Third Avenue? I mean, they've done all the data on the number of trucks. And maybe this isn't the time or place, but certainly they've already made a plan.
Well,
Feedback,
Can I
and
clarify?
we're going to check in internally. Andrew, you want to add to
Yeah,
that?
I was gonna say, for the safety improvements, we're treating them in this case separately from the truck route additions. So we would still want to do the safety improvements even without the truck route part.
Okay, so one's not contingent on the other.
Sorry, I didn't catch the first
I'm
part.
sorry. So one is not contingent on the other. It is separate and apart. Okay.
Yep.
I do just I don't mean to jump in here. I usually don't do this, but from what James Vavis had mentioned, since the Third Avenue merchants were not consulted, his organization and group, I really think that they need to be a part with DOT to just review those locations where loading or unloading zones are. I mean, not so much about the enhanced crossings, but if we could, pause this, to allow them the opportunity to be part of this, in terms of transparency. I mean, and to James's point, I think that's really important here.
Josephine, we would
Yeah, I
welcome the
think
opportunity to provide that feedback in a separate meeting at any time. Just let us know. We'll make sure that we have people and representatives there. But
Yeah,
we
so-
feel strongly about it as well.
Yeah, so from my understanding, the New York City DOT street ambassadors went business to business to talk to each. I'm not sure what their overall plan is because we usually have them do all of our outreach for the merchants.
Could you give us a
but-
copy of that report?
Could you give me a
Yeah,
copy
we
of that
can follow
report?
up. We can follow up with that.
Yes, could you give Mr. Vavis a copy of that report?
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have Diana follow up with that. Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with that because I'd like to know what questions were asked.
Yeah, we'll follow up with the street ambassador report for the merchant surveys for sure.
I see Sandy has his hand up.
Thank you, Jane Marie. My opinion that I would propose to all the members of DOT that are on the chat here, being that we did have a motion in February. We did send a letter, which I don't know if you received or didn't receive, but it seems that nobody from DOT has looked at that letter. And from what James Vavitz has told us on Third Avenue, the merchants have not seen any questionnaires or have not been consulted at all. So I find it very, very highly problematic with any of these projects moving forward. You have the community board, which has not received an answer to a letter. You have members of Third Avenue that have not been consulted, and I would be very problematic in accepting any of whether it's a truck route or the safety plans until we get more input from the community board, from the Third Avenue merchants, and to have a meeting with DOT to better look at the problem, that not problem, but the proposed truck route and safety solutions to Third Avenue, because these are issues that we are going to have to live with for a very long time, and they bring very significant problems to CB10.
Thank you, Sandy.
Doris?
Yes, I would suggest that we pause the plan until we get some answers. We get a copy of the street ambassadors surveys and responses, information on the loading zones, because Mr. Vavas has told us there are loading zones and they're not using properly. A breakdown of the number of truck accidents as opposed to other accidents, the number of signals, because not every intersection on Third Avenue has a traffic signal, and what impact the bus, how many bus stops there are, and how that would impact all of this. So that is my suggestion, that we ask for a pause in the plan until we get more information.
Liz?
Yes, out of curiosity, is there going to be a public hearing on this truck redesign proposal?
Yes. A public hearing, I'm sorry, Liz, for CB10 or for the city? I mean, for the
city.
The city,
DOT.
yes. Yes, I think the date is, let's see, it was just, I think Andrew just mentioned it. It was June 2nd or June 6th?
Yeah, I feel like it was a June date.
It's June 9th.
June 9th, I'm sorry, June 9th.
Yeah. At 10 a.m. Yeah.
Thank you.
So just to review once again, Josephine, so now it is a separate motion is needed?
Yes.
So a separate motion is needed, and what I'm hearing from our committee members involved, how much of a pause can we do? That was one of my questions before we asked for a pause, because I don't know what the timeline, I believe I saw stuff was happening for spring. I believe on their,
Yes.
they have it down that this is the spring presentation and that the project implementation is for late summer kickoff. So, you know, seeing that the board does not meet in the summer, I'm just concerned, like, for the time frame of this.
So, I guess the DOT, could we, would we have this information, how soon could we have this information? Would we have it in time for June?
We can gather it, and as soon as I'll keep you posted.
Right, okay, or if we have time for the, September meeting, that's, you have to let us know. It doesn't
Yeah,
seem
yeah.
too far off. Late summer is actually September, right? So, could be that too.
Right,
Okay.
but I would hate to, like, I don't want to miss our opportunity is just what I'm saying. Like, if we're asking for a pause, will they be able to pause it? Will they pause it?
Okay, so if the board motions for a pause, we could include in that to receive a response to that question by DOT, and then we'll get back to the committee. We could do that. If the committee wants to do that.
Does that make sense then, from what we've heard this evening? I'm seeing some nodding yes, okay.
I think the merchants have the right to.
Yes, it
Was-
has to include the
They'll
merchant.
know stuff,
Absolutely,
they'll know
Connie.
problems we wouldn't even think about. So
Mhm.
they're the most, we're all affected, but they're the most affected because it's their livelihood. If something goes wrong.
And as we've said, it's a commercial and a residential corridor. So Josephine, if you could just kind of summarize this for us then, we're asking DOT.
Right, well, as request DOT, we'd like to put a pause on the DOT SIP presentation until such time as the Department of Transportation could get back to us with the data that was requested, as well as, meeting with the Third Avenue merchants and getting back to us when their plan implementation will be, is it timely? We could get this information for June, or can we wait until September? Is that okay with everyone? See
I
what-
second that.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, looks unanimous. Okay, that's it. That concludes our agenda for tonight.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you for providing your time tonight and letting us present.
Okay, very good. Thank you all.
We look forward to hearing from you with the answers to our question. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.